All right, everybody. Welcome back to Gridiron Gang, a Detroit News Lions podcast. The Detroit Lions just whooped the Chicago Bears 52-21. We're going to talk all about it. I am Nolan Bianchi. With me, as always, my partner in crime, Richard Silva, and everybody's favorite columnist, John Niyo.
What's going
John,
on,
how's
guys?
it going?
I don't know what you guys were all worried about with this Lions team.
I don't know either.
I don't know what you guys were talking about.
That team looks like a Super Bowl contender.
No, they just looks like the team that we saw for 17, 18 games last year.
Yeah, there was a lot of nervous energy coming into this game, a lot of nervous anticipation. You know, I think when the schedule first came out, we looked at this 1-2 punch to start the season, and given the way that the Lions had beaten the Packers over the last couple of years, I think we kind of looked at this Bears game and thought, oh, this could be a couple of 1-0 teams.
Sure,
right.
Who's
the real mastermind? Instead, these two teams come in reeling a little bit. Yeah. The Bears with a comeback loss on Monday Night Football, the Lions, obviously, with what happened in Green Bay last week. And I got to say, no idea what was going to happen in this game, no idea how this team was going to respond. I thought that there was a pretty good chance they'd put together a decent performance, but I got to say I did not expect 52 points and a franchise record,
8.8 yards per play, yeah.
I think I had them in my prediction at 27-21, and even 27 points. I was
Felt like a lot.
I was like, man, after what we saw last week, I don't know if I could just pencil these guys in for high 20s, low 30s. But then they come out with a 50 bomb.
Yeah, they come out with 50, but they also came out with that opening drive. Was like, oh, okay. And I think everybody then calmed down in this building. Like, okay, they're still the team we thought we remembered. They're still the team we thought they could be. They're capable of that because we didn't see it at all in the opener, really. And then it bogged down a little bit. I thought the run game took a while to get going, and so that was still a little concerning through much of the first half. But those explosives were there in the passing game, just sort of at will. I mean, what was it, seven plays of 25-plus yards today, half of them or 5 of them were passes. But those big chunk plays were there. Goff looked completely comfortable, even when there was some pressure in the pocket early on.
He was quite mobile.
He reset, he reset himself and found that St. Brown was St. Brown and J-Mo was J. You know, all those things started to fall into place. And that's what it can look like. We forget that.
And the offensive line. I mean, that was the big story coming out of last week, just because of the fact that it was something we were all maybe a little bit worried about, concerned about going into the season in terms of how it would hold up with two essentially rookies in there, plus Graham Glasgow, an aging Graham Glasgow. But they really did their job today, I thought.
On run game, pass game, Dan Campbell said as much. To your point about the explosives, to do that after only having one play of 20-plus yards last week.
Yeah.
It was kind of a little bit of a broken coverage, that 32-yarder with Sam Laporta. Meanwhile, the first play of the game from scrimmage is the 30-whatever-yarder to Saint. And then the first play from scrimmage of the second half is J-Mo's big play that went for, 60-something yards?
64 yards,
Yeah, they were doing it all today. And I thought the defense played really well. They were playing complimentary football. At first, the offense wasn't necessarily finishing its part of the job. It was, I think, 3 straight drives with turnovers. You had a fumble, you had an interception, and then you had a turnover on downs. The Lions only got 7 points out of that after a missed field goal from Jake Bates. So that, I thought, was a little bit – a point in the game where you can kind of look at it and go, okay, like now is the time to, when they're not capitalizing on those situations like maybe they have in years past, gets a little bit, anxious. And then all of a sudden they go up 21-7, I think it was. They give up the touchdown to Odunze. It's 21-14. It looks like a ball game. And then from then on, the route was on.
The whole thing right before halftime was weird. We should talk about Isaac Tesla. But
is he the greatest receiver of all time?
Greatest one-handed receiver of all time.
If you want to talk like strictly hands, I don't think we've seen any proof to the contrary.
If Isaac Tesla didn't have the coolest first catch in NFL history, I can say definitively that he has the coolest first 2 catches in NFL history. Yeah. But that whole halftime debacle right before it was weird and you did the poll report and you talked to the refs, and it makes sense what happened. The refs made a mistake initially ruling him out of bounds when he was in bounds. But I thought that really kind of swung it because, like you said, it really was a game up until that point. And then they go up 2 touchdowns at halftime, and it just was kind of that was that.
And the Bears got the ball out of half. So it was kind of like that situation where we talked about last week where the Lions were driving towards the end of the half, and you're like, okay, if they could put one on the board here, they get the ball at halftime, everything's okay. And that game, Goff throws the interception. In this game, the Bears allow a nice long touchdown drive with just 1:55 left on the clock. So,
but this was also, it was John Morton's offense doing these things, and it was John Morton's offense with Jared Goff at the helm, as usual, running the 2-minute offense to perfection on that last drive. The red zone issues were completely cleaned up today. They were, just wide open to St. Brown. It seemed to be drawn up.
Goff was
3 times today.
23 for 28 for 334 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a passer rating of 156.
He was at perfect there for a stretch in the early fourth quarter, or whatever. I mean, he had 15 straight completions at one point. He looked like the Jared Goff all of last year, but he was looking like that with a different guy calling the plays. So we can just finally dispense with the, oh man, what's he going to look like without Ben on the Ben's call sheet? No, it's like. It's the talent around him. It's the quarterback he is. And the protection today. No sacks today. No turnovers, no sacks. But, yeah, they're capable of doing all of this without Ben Johnson. So now we can put that to rest.
Jameson Williams got asked about that, like whether it was kind of personal or not, like the whole, the whole narrative this offense can't do without Ben Johnson. And his response in the locker room was, you see that 50 on the scoreboard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and to his credit, JMO even made the point. He goes, I don't even remember doing that often. But he's like, I think it was only once or twice that happened. Now 2 games in with Johnny Mo.
Yeah, it was twice. Right.
They got 50. But I think that's a great point, right? Like if they came out and they scored 31, you'd say, okay, the offense is back, but can it be as good as it was last year? This shut down so many different conversations that could have been had after this game, regardless of them winning or not.
And they still know how to have fun, as we saw when Kirby, who, by the way, is not 100%. I mean, like he was playing despite, something with that knee today, had it wrapped all the time. It's like, makes his pick because he's Kirby. He grabs a terrible throw by Caleb Williams because Caleb Williams is Caleb Williams. And then the impromptu stumble bum that they run, celebration that they run there, he takes the snap, pretends to fall down. He had told Amik Robertson before, he's like, go for a pass. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing, but okay. He throws a pass, and then he said he turned, as soon as he catches it, he turns around, there's Ben Johnson right in front of him, give him a little whatever. And so, that's the way they played all of last year, the year before that, to be honest. That's the way they can still play. And so I think that's the takeaway for me from this game is who knows where the season will end and how far it will go, and this schedule is tough, but they're capable. So whether they can rise to that as many times as they did last season, that's the question now.
It's still in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Dan Campbell even talked about that after the game. Dan Campbell, make no mistake, motivated to prove what was what. And he said that. Somebody asked him about a little extra motivation or whatever, and he said, as it pertains to what you're asking me, yes, there was part of us that wanted to show, the train rolls on. Right. We still got the players here. Right. It's the players that matter. It's not anything else. And that was about as deep as I've seen him talk about it, really since Ben Johnson left. And I thought the Lions, give them credit, all week, did a really good job of disguising maybe how they felt about this game and what they would feel when they took the field with Ben Johnson on the other side. But after this game, they all pretty much unloaded the clip. Brian Branch said that he felt betrayed by Ben Johnson leaving. He was very complimentary.
He didn't mean it as nasty as it sounded, perhaps. But of course they took it personally. Everyone's like, oh, man, the Lions are cooked now. They don't have their coordinators. No, they're still one of the best teams in the league, and they proved it again today. But now they got to go prove it at Baltimore. They got to go prove it against better teams than the Bears because the Bears are still the Bears.
Yeah.
It's the second time I've seen them do something like that, where they kind of keep under wraps how they're feeling. I think back to the Dallas game last year, where they say just another game.
Extra motivation. What's that?
And then they go and they do whatever they do in Dallas and trick plays. And Panay Sewell's doing this and that. And then I remember talking to Taylor Decker afterwards, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we wanted to unload the clip today. We absolutely wanted to."
And to be honest, and it didn't really get talked about much after it, but they did go for it on 4th and goal from the 4 up 24.
So it did get talked about.
And Ben Johnson got asked about it. He says, "Well, what do you want me to do?" Of course, that's what they do. That's what they do. They don't kick field goals. They go for 4th down.
That was it. That got me. Where he was like, "What were they supposed to do?" And the reporter goes, "Kick a field goal." And he goes, "They don't kick field goals."
So the good times were here again. I mean, Jared Goff was Lions leaping into the crowd.
Yeah, that needs some work.
three Lions players topped 100 yards from scrimmage on the day. Jahmyr Gibbs, 94 rushing yards with 10 receiving yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown, the first 3 touchdown game of his career. He had 9 catches for 115 yards. And then Jamison Williams, maybe my favorite stat line of the day, 2 catches, 108 yards, 1 touchdown, and an average of 54 yards per catch.
He said what's still killing him is that long one on the sideline, the first catch that he had,
Yeah.
60 whatever yards, 65, I think, 64. He was like, I'm still thinking about that one. I still feel like I should have scored.
Yeah.
And there was one where, credit to Jalen Johnson, like he was with him the whole way. And by like some people corrected me after I made a tweet about this, but they were looking for a shot that was a little bit reminiscent of what they did at Soldier Field last season. A little bit different, less separation on the play. There was a guy with him pretty much the entire time, but Goff took it anyways, and it didn't connect, but J-Mo lost his shoe. And I'm just wondering, like, if J-Mo didn't lose his shoe, does he have the ability to run underneath it? Because Goff did lay it out there in front of him and, probably missed him by like 3-4 feet, which is kind of a lot, but,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
When you're not wearing a shoe.
Shoeless J-Mo,
Yeah.
He ran half the route with a sock on.
Yeah. Silly guy.
How about the defense? What'd you think?
Yeah, the defense was fantastic. We saw the pass rush get a little bit going.
He got going
today,
once they were forced to pass, essentially.
Yeah.
Then it started to get cooking, 4 second-half sacks. But yeah, some great plays defensively. Branch was kind of all over the place, like
he was incredible.
Yeah, forces that early fumble, which was huge, obviously, but he does get a personal foul for roughing the passer they didn't agree with. But they were getting after it.
He got fined twice yesterday for plays in the Green Bay game, and I think after his post-game comments, he could probably expect another one this upcoming week.
Hutch was someone else that, in addition to Jamo, that was kind of lamenting, like, dang, I can't believe I didn't finish or make this play. He talked about his first, or not his first pressure, but his first almost sack of the game, where Kirby ends up actually getting the thing. So all's well that ends well.
Right.
But he got asked about his sack and like, how cool does that feel? Like, you've had a lot of like I'm back moments, but does this one feel special? And the first thing he brought up is he was like, yeah, I missed that first one though. And then eventually he did talk about it. He was like, yeah, it does kind of feel like a little bit of an I'm back moment. You saw him, the crowd erupts.
He was blowing kisses to the crowd.
Yeah, it was definitely like it was a thing.
Yeah, he was feeling himself in that moment for sure. Yeah, I mean the linebackers were good. I thought DeAndre Swift did run the ball a little bit
early on for sure. Yeah.
Fortunately for the Lions' point of view, they were able to kind of get a lead and take DeAndre Swift out of the game pretty much. He had 12 rushes for 63 yards. Caleb was 19 for 30 passing for 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. So even for as crazy as he can be sometimes, I did think that the interception to Kirby Joseph was a little out of character for him. So good on the Lions for forcing him into that as well.
I mean, his thing last year was the whole holding the ball too long, taking sacks instead of just getting rid of it, taking a little bit of a chance. Real quick, I wanted to talk about it because you talked about the run game. DJ Reed as well, because I know the secondary, obviously the safeties can and should dominate the conversation because of what they did. They forced 2 turnovers, but I thought DJ Reed really stuck his face in the run game. He got after it, I thought.
Yeah, Terran Arnold had his first career interception taken away by the penalty on Brian Branch.
That poor guy just can't get one.
Branch apologized.
Yeah, he said I owe him for that one. My bad, Terrion or something like that.
There was a 3rd and long too, where I'm pretty sure I got to go double check. It was definitely Kirby and somebody else collided into each other going for the pick. It might have been Terrion, but I know he's dying to get one. Man, he really wants one so bad.
No, look, this was in some ways a bit of a dress rehearsal with the mobile quarterback, though, because obviously the next task is a much bigger one. Lamar Jackson had failed miserably last time when they went to Baltimore and has failed many times with running quarterbacks with this team. So that's a huge test. It's Monday night. They've got an extra day to get ready to recuperate. But that's the next big test for me, I think, is, okay, we've seen this offense reach the level we've seen before. We need to see that defense reach another level probably next week.
And it's not going to be easy. Marcus Davenport left the game with a shoulder injury, still kind of waiting for an update on him. Don't really know what the outlook is, but he actually left the game twice, first with an ankle injury, questionable to return. He ends up coming back, and then it must have been a few plays later where
he actually gets a sack.
Yeah, he actually gets a sack, and while trying to avoid Hutchinson, he kind of leaps over him and does a little bit of a roll, and I think that's where he hurts the shoulder. But still waiting for an update on him. Branch, if you're wondering about him, obviously good. He was at the podium. He said he had a cramp. towards the end of the game, but I saw a lot of people freaking out about that as he left the game. Shane Zylstra got taken off on a cart with an ankle injury. You saw him in a boot in the locker room after the game. And then what other injury? There was one more, wasn't there?
Just Kirby with the knee that he looks just, a little not 100%.
Yeah.
I thought he looked better as the game went on, actually, but that's something I think he's going to be dealing with kind of throughout here.
Yeah, and he was the first starter to get pulled from what I saw. They put Avonte Maddox out there, which, if you're a depth chart guy, interesting. Avonte Maddox ahead of Rocky Sean. But, yeah. Anything else?
On to Baltimore.
Will you be here next week?
I will be there next week.
You'll be there next week. Wonderful.
I hope nobody's
that other columnist. He doesn't like to join us.
You're not here because the game is in Baltimore.
I'll be in Baltimore.
Right.
I'll be in Baltimore. Jimmy's Famous Seafood.
We'll be there.
Yeah.
Well, it was just like a myth. Like he doesn't.
He's the man, the myth, the legend.
That's true.
All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. Go to DetroitNews.com. Check out all of our game coverage coming out of this one, as well as all dang week. And we'll have another podcast this Thursday morning. See you guys then. Sweet.